Hello, good day, good evening, good morning, wherever you are watching this. Today's conversation is something that I'm hoping is going to be a stepping stone to the conversations that I'm hoping you will have with your children. So it's all about family meetings. I have grown up in a family where we have had family meetings. I have seen the importance of getting everybody on board, and I'm realizing that there's a gap that is within the families. And one of the phrases that I came across is you need to be very careful that you are not a headmistress, you are not a principal to your children, because the only time you're having a conversation is if they have followed the rules, academics, and all the chores or the tasks that you have put here before them. So by the time I am looking at family meetings, I am hoping that you will be okay. So what are the main concerns in my life about my children, and what are my children going through that I may not be aware, because life happens. So ladies and gentlemen, parents and guardians, will keep it short to the best of my ability, but these are some of the tips that I would like you to have in mind when you're thinking of having a family meeting. Don't overcomplicate things, don't think too much about it. Just start off and say, what do I want to talk about or find out about my children? So one of the main things, or one of the first steps, is you decide on a day or a time, a day and a time that can happen regularly, often. So you decide, is it going to be Sunday afternoons after you have come from your place of worship, or whatever the case may be in your family? Or could it be on Saturdays? Could it be over the holidays? Because one thing I am not about to push down your throat or to force you to do is that it has to be every week, because our timetables, our schedules is very different home by home, and whatever the case may be. So step number one is decide on a day and a time that can happen at least once, twice, as often as you think it is. But because you're starting it off, don't stress too much. So it can be in the afternoon after you are going to church or your place of worship, and then when you're having your meal, that favorite snack, you're somewhere out, and yes, it can be at home or out and about. You just have a conversation and say that for the next 30 minutes, of which now I move to the next step, is decide on the time. Be careful with the age groups that you have in your home, because if you have, and everybody is being involved, you're not leaving out the 2-year-old, but if you do have a 2-year-old, the attention span will dissipate within 2 minutes. So by the time you have the different age groups, these family meetings are best when there's the school going children, because they're able to communicate, to write it out and all that. So the timings, depending on the number of children you have, depending on their ages, so that you don't lose one out when others are talking and their attention span has disappeared or gone elsewhere. So by this time the gadgets are off, you are having a one-on-one. That's why if you can have even out and about, so that the 2-year-old can run while the school going children and you and your partner, if that is the case, can have a conversation. So a time, a place, and the duration. Then you give each person, there should be a rotating responsibility chart. There should be a chairperson, or the person, the leader of the moment, not of the day or of life. But you have the same way you go to a meeting and there's a secretary, there's one who is writing the minutes, there's one who is refreshments, taking care of the housekeeping. So by the time you're having these roles, you're looking at what needs to be done, if possible. And I recommend, please have a minute book, a small counter book, something that can be written and you can refer to it later. If there's one person who would love to write, because maybe that's the best way that they pay attention and they get whatever is happening, yes, but let them also be maybe the ones opening with a prayer or stating what the agenda is and all that. So you have the basic responsibilities of holding a meeting, and let it be on rotational charts, so that you know who is coming in next, during who will be the leader, who will be the secretary in the next meeting. So by the time you're having all this, before you officially start, you can ask your children, what topics would you like us to have? So they can either write it down, they can either state them and all that. So is it that they want to talk about school? Is it that they want to talk about holidays? These family meetings is not all academic. It is planning the next celebration. It is celebrating the milestones that the family has come through. It is getting in touch and finding out, okay, where are we in terms of the loss that we have experienced as a family? So you're just touching base on issues. So because every meeting has an agenda, you can decide what are the agendas, and the children can be a part of this because you are trying to find out what is going on. And let me put a disclaimer or a major point. Please let it be non-judgmental. A child may give you feedback about you as a mother or you as a father, you as a guardian, that does not go well with you after all your struggles and getting the money and getting them to school and everything. You're trying your level best to tune in to their world without going on attack mode, on judgment mode, on parent mode. Yes, there could be situations that need that happening, but the children need to have a space. And then also, you might realize that children may not want to speak. So can they write the letters in advance and then, or the notes, and then they put them in a basket, it is picked, and the conversation start. So it doesn't have to be. Make it as flexible and as relevant to your family as possible. I am not saying it is a moment to see who has said what, who has not said. If they don't feel like sharing at that moment, or they don't feel like they want to say, give the option of writing it out or making an audio voice note and that kind of thing. Give them options. And you try what works for you and is moving your family forward. Okay? So I'm hoping with those tips, at least you can start off on having family meetings. This is where you will get to know who is your child's friend, best friend forever. Terms and conditions are applying when it comes to their relationships. It will let you know, are they being bullied, or they might even say, my friend is being bullied. It could be them, it could be someone else. It could be you realize that why not involve them in making the meal plan? They may have learned a skill. A project comes up and it is a family thing. They know about the budgeting of a family trip that takes time. It doesn't just happen like that for them to move from here to there. It takes planning. So with this family meeting, I'm hoping you get to understand your children much more. They get to understand your point of view, which is relevant to their developmental age. Don't scare your children with some facts about adulthood and the rest. So you are walking a journey. It is not an instant fix. It is a journey. It's a marathon. You keep on adapting as you move on and as the age in the different group are, the different age groups that they are in. So I'm hoping that helps. If you haven't subscribed, kindly do so. And we'll be having such topical issues and much more, because now with the family meeting, we can now say, okay, so what do we need to discuss? And then I'll be helping you with topical issues on how you can address issues like drug and substance abuse, matters of reproductive health, matters of parenting in the digital age. How do you talk to children about the birds and the bees? Is it really about the birds and the bees and all the other things? Because whatever is normal is abnormal, whatever is abnormal is normal. What have they faced and all that? So in this space, feel free, share amongst your networks, and I'll be seeing you soon. All the best and see you soon. Bye-bye.